Hello and welcome to this edition of One on One. I am Cyril Stober. My guest today is an activist with a difference. He is an advocate of peace and non-violence. His belief in advancing the cause of peace led him to found a body known as Foundation for Peace and Non-Violence in Nigeria. Well, his origin puts him in the position to appreciate the devastation that violence can wreak on the socio-political and economic life of society. He hails from Rivers State and was raised in Port Harcourt, where he attained his education. Let's welcome Onengia Erekosima, President and Founder, Foundation for Peace and Non-Violence in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Right, good to have you on One on One.
Thank you.
Now let's begin from the very start of it, the early days. What was this thing about? What was it as you were growing up in Port Harcourt then? What captured your imagination about living in a society that was peaceful? I assume that at that time things would not have been as hot as now, but tell us.
Yes, I am born into a family of 6, and my younger brother died. That pushed me into really thinking about life. I got married and I have 5 kids. I grew up in Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt used to be so peaceful, lovely. A place where even when you carry a stick, when you're fighting with somebody, policemen are looking for you. If you carry a stick, we grew up respecting elders. We grew up in Port Harcourt like a family. Then when I go to Lagos and you're a Port Harcourt boy, you're like the heart of Nigeria. That's where Nigeria is. That's where the spirit of love, the spirit of oneness is. So we grew up with love, togetherness. We knew almost everybody in the town. That's how we grew up. But along the line, we begin to see things changing, political ways. People started hustling for power instead of getting the name that would be a blessing to them. So until this Asari thing came up, and I discovered that Asari stood up against a system, to my understanding. It was like it was against a system. So after the Asari Ateke war and so on, I saw a man who wants to bring back this respect. So I decided doing a photograph for him, video. I did my video for him free of charge. Asari was not paying me. I became his video man. I didn't know God was taking me through a process. Then I started understanding the differences, why the fighting, why the armed struggle, as I was covering along the line before Asari was arrested. Now when Asari was arrested, I was the first person he called. He called me at the police headquarters, Moscow Road, that I should come. When I went there, he gave me his phone and said, it's an arrest. Since then, I begin to understand that God has given me something to do. I have never been a militant. I have never carried a gun. I don't like the idea that somebody who is not licensed is having a gun.
Okay. So now you say that there was a struggle, there was a fight, there was a protest against the system.
Yeah.
Now, which system are we talking about here?
Now, I came to understand, because at the time, the whole of the struggle is not the Adakaboro struggle, it's not the Ken Sedewewa struggle. This struggle became a tussle, a power tussle between groups, between rival cult groups. So it was not like they are fighting Nigeria, because I keep asking, what is this idea that we heard that the Niger Delta is fighting Nigeria? I discovered that there was nobody actually fighting Nigeria. There was no time in the history of my own understanding, with what I saw, with what I heard, where people from the Niger Delta stood up and were fighting Nigeria.
Okay, so this started because you had several groups and they were struggling to get
to be recognized. Right. Who will be recognized? At that time, you had to be strong to be recognized. You have to have boys to be able to rig elections for people who want you to rig elections for them. So we have tussle. Then people came up. At that time, Asari was the president of the IYC, who is the Ijaw Youth Congress. And when these things came up, the people of IYC now saw that when there was a tussle between him and Ateketom and others, that there was a finger of some people in government. Okay. So it was from there, it was now converted to say, were fighting the government.
Okay.
That is actual truth. Now, our elders, most of our elders, who I think does not really have a conscience, who did not understand that by the time you lay a foundation, your children will build on it. Begin to convert something that was criminality, something that was a cold war, to a struggle. Because they wanted to be relevant in Abuja, come to Aso Rock and say, we know the boys. So it all started like that. Until now, when Asari came out for negotiation between Ateketom, Obasanjo called them and gave them grace to surrender their guns. I went to Asari and I talked to him. I made Asari surrender all of his guns. All of his guns. I said, even the pistol, even this, I was following him up. I said, we will do this. The world must know that I made Asari surrender all of his guns. So when Asari was picked up, and he called me and said, they have arrested him, I gave 24 hours deadline to the police because I know what his boys are capable of doing. That we must hear from Asari if you're taking him to Abuja. When they got to Abuja, they called. And they called and I talked to Asari. The boys, the leaders, all their names, they called themselves generals, and all of them came around. We're waiting for action. When I picked the phone and I talked to Asari, at the end of the day, the order I had, because then I have been seen to be in charge, was that these boys should go to the street. I looked at myself, how can I tell people to go to the street? I don't know, you're throwing stone in the market, you don't know who has gone to the market. If you go to the street, who are you going to kill? So I told them when I dropped the phone, I said, I am told that nobody should do anything, that everything is okay, that there must be no violence from anywhere. On that day, I don't know what happened, some of them who believed that I can't get that kind of order tore my shirts. But I stood my grounds and I moved on. 2 days after that, in Lagos was burning. OPC has taken over Lagos. That's why would they arrest somebody like Asari? And that if they allowed that several other people will be arrested and nobody will talk. OPC called me to Lagos. When I went to Lagos, I met with OPC and they said they want to hold the whole town to ransom. You want to hold everybody to ransom because Asari is arrested. I want to ask you a question. I asked them, you are now Sama, you are an Igbo man, you are from Yoruba, I am from Niger Delta. If all of us are given a gun, whom are we going to kill? You're a Christian, I'm a Muslim. If all of us are given a gun, who are we going to kill? That question they could not answer. I told them, I know that OPC was a non-violent group from the beginning. How can we take to violence? How can we kidnap or take to ransom our own people? That the problem is not the people, the problem is the system.
Okay.
The problem was the system, and since then, after Asari was arrested, nobody asked. I didn't know God was using me. OPC has never done it. Go back to history and find out. That was how OPC went back into their houses, and violence ended with OPC. That was the last period OPC ever came out to say OPC is doing anything. God used me to convert them. I told them, you cannot, because of Asari, hold your people to ransom when the system is what we have to correct. That came down. By that time, the whole place was like, nobody is moving. By the grace of God, the Asari boys, I held them down. I made sure nobody takes to violence. I told the government, look, release this man, because you will create other Asaris. The government did not listen to me. I was everywhere canvassing for his release. I was the only person who had a face, who could stand up and talk for Alhaji Asari Dokubo. Every other name were ghost names. We had Cynthia White, we had Ojomo Bomo. Those names were not people's names. Until we tell ourselves the truth, we cannot save this generation. This is a dying generation that we must save. I hold the Asari group until Asari was released with non-violence. The groups that went out and formed their own, those that felt they must carry violence, they must do this and break out when Asari was in prison, are the ones who most of them now have taken the amnesty thing we're talking about.
Now, you held down and there was non-violence.
Yes.
But later on, others took to the creeks,
yes,
and they took to violence, and it became widespread.
Let me tell you how it came there. The River State government at that time has handed over to Celestine Omeya. I went to Celestine Omeya. I have met Peter Odili. Peter Odili, one in one, has told me in confidence, he said, look, he would never do things that will take anybody's life. That he's looking for a reconciliation. Most times Peter Odili will call for reconciliations, and because it may be the name, the title the thing was militant, and so on. Asari would tell his people, we won't go because we are not criminals, we are not cultists. So most of the people at that time has already joined Alhaji Asari Tokubo to fight the Ateke groups. So when there is a meeting, Asari's group will not want to identify with Ateke groups. So it was difficult for Odili to solve the problem.
Okay.
It now came to Celestine Omeya. Celestine Omeya was eager, he wants to solve the problem. On the process, he now said, if you repent as a cultist, the government will give you 1 million naira.
Okay.
So how can you give people who are not schooled, who does not understand what they will do with the money, who are killing people because of money, who are doing several things, 1 million naira? Then it means you're going to worsen the whole of the situation. The government did not listen to me. That was why the team went LY. Everybody, the commissioner of police then will call me, say, Eric Osima, I'm in trouble. I have 50 lists. Somebody will write to him, say, I have 50 boys. We are all militants, we have repented. We need our 50 million thousand. I told them, this is the problem. You cannot do that. Now, that was where a lot of people now were like, if you want to be a militant, if you want to be a cultist, they will send you, go and kill somebody, go and do this one, then you become a militant. So people who were never cultists now started going to identify themselves with leaders. Leaders will now send them in errors to kidnap, to do several things. That's why the thing spreaded. Then late Azazi was chief of defense staff or that. He called me in Abuja. He said, what is wrong in Port Harcourt? What do we do? I told him, look, even the hand of the government is tight. The best we can do right now is a state of emergency. I told Azazi. On the day he was to go to Port Harcourt, I was with him in Abuja in his house. He went to Port Harcourt and they now declared curfew. It got worse. Because these things were not just fighting the system, they were not. They were killing themselves. If I see your boys, I will kill. If you see my boys kill, we must know who is more superior. That's how the war was.
Okay.
Until the court, on the process, now brought in Amechi. When Amechi came in, nobody was looking for any particular militant leader in the whole of Niger Delta. No government has declared anybody wanted. So they were not looked for. They were free until Amechi came in and declared 3 people wanted. Soboma George, Father Dagugo, and Ateketon. When he declared it wanted, the whole place was tensed. So on the 1st of January 2008, Ateke attacked a police station and a presidential hotel and so on with his boys. On the 1st of January. On the 2nd, I was the only person that was called by the radio station in Port Harcourt reading. And I condemned the attack. I said, you can't be killing policemen. Killing a policeman is like stripping the society naked. I condemned the attack and Ateke heard it in the creek. I've never met Ateke before. He heard it and said, who is that person who has condemned what he did? I said, that he wants to see me. I said, me too, I want to see you. This is on the 2nd. On the 3rd, he sent somebody to me. The person carried me through waterside, in a boat, until we went to Ateke's camp. And Ateke said, look, I must refute what I have said. I am telling you how God has been with me. Because the Ateke Tom, at that time, no normal human being with the impression we had about this man will go to him. I went to him, I said, you can't be killing policemen. He said, no. That I must refute what I have said. I said I will not refute it because I know that period there was this thing that he was doing sports programs in his place, Okoshiri. So why would you now kill policemen? So he now told me his story.
Okay.
Say the government of Amechi has attacked his village, Okoshiri, which is one of the biggest towns in Okrika. Okoshiri is not a camp; it's a town. That Amechi has attacked Okoshiri, attacked his house, they packed his monies in thousands, then killed people, packed all that he had, and nobody heard it. So out of annoyance, out of let people hear that something has happened to me, and people are wanting to kill me for nothing, I retaliated.
Okay. Did you give him any sort of advice on how to seek redress?
He said I retaliated. I'm just coming on the story. When he said I retaliated, I said, okay, but this is not the way I now told him about non-violence. He said, look, Ateke told me, these people are alive. I want people to ask questions. Ateke told me, nobody has come here to tell me about non-violence. Everybody that comes here tells me, if you don't fight back, the government will say they have warned you. I said, you don't need to fight back. I then called the commissioner of police. He picked my phone and I told him, I am with Ateke Tom. And this is what has happened. Ateke Tom, I want you to talk to him. I gave my phone to Ateke Tom and Ateke Tom talked to the policeman. And he said, he is sorry to him. Ateke Tom called media from there and said, I have believed this man, Eric Osima, and I believe he's non-violent. From there, Ateke Tom said, I repent. That's where the amnesty and begging for forgiveness started. Right. I now started going down to the chairman. I went round to the whole of the chairman. I went to Buguma chairman. I went to Bonny. I went to Okrika. I was like, let us forgive these our people. Let's talk to the governor. By the time we forgive them and they come on board, we can use them. The chairman was scared because at that time, the governor does not like my face or maybe does not want my belief. What I believed was different from what he believes. He believes that these people must be killed. And I'm saying, no, forgive them. So the chairman was scared. I went to the chief media of the governor and I talked to him. He said, look, if you will accept it, I believe you, but I don't believe these other boys you're talking about. I now said, okay, I brought an agreement from Ateke Tom that he has accepted peace. He's ready to lay down his guns. I brought it to him for us to follow up and get to the governor. By the time we get to the governor or something, the whole story changed and they said they can never do it. Okay. So the governor now went on the process and there was a truth and reconciliation.
Okay. We had truth and reconciliation at that time, and
yes. When the
a number of people came out and decided to say what had been happened, bothering them.
Now, if you remember that program, on the first day was me and the governor. When the governor formed the Truth and Reconciliation, before that Truth and Reconciliation, I have met the governor. I met him in Abuja, in Transcorp Hilton. I said, His Excellency, these things can be solved. I have met Ateke Tom. I have met Farah Dagogo. I have met these boys. I have met Suboma George. They are ready to lay down their guns. The governor said he will not forgive. That if it were me, they kill my people, will I be asking him for forgiveness? I said, no, even Saul was Saul, and God made him to become Paul. I begged the governor. He said he will not. I said, he now asked me, do I want to tell him that I know God more than him? Up to next, I brought out my form, my NGO's form. I said, I want you to be part of my NGO. He said, yes. It was 200 naira to be part of my NGO. He collected the form.
That's the Foundation for Peace.
Then it was Niger Delta Non-Violent Movement.
Okay, Niger Delta
That was the name God I used. Okay. But Nigeria refused to register it for whatever reason.
Okay.
He collected the form. So on the day of the Truth and Reconciliation, when he came out, I insisted I would be inside there. I went inside, and there was time for question. So I asked him, I said, His Excellency, I have met you before, asking for forgiveness for these boys, and you refuse. It was done in the open. He was mad. He said, I am one of them because I knew them. That in short, they should arrest me. And I was like, you want to arrest me because I am preaching peace? The judge, who is now late, told him, His Excellency, we cannot arrest. Before then, I have met the Senate President, David Mark. And I talked to him about this thing, about the peace and all that I am doing. David Mark promised that he was coming to see Ateke Tom without security. David Mark came to Rivers State. I am telling you because these people are alive. David Mark came to Rivers State. On that day, I was with Ateke Tom because he was coming. We were to receive him. We waited till about 3 something. They now called Ateke Tom that the governor of Rivers State want to come with David Mark. Ateke Tom said he would never let him come. I said, if you don't let him come, how would they know you want peace? So we said, okay, come. That day we waited, there was curfew. So by 6 o'clock, the boats won't move. I waited till about 5. I had to leave. The following morning, Ateke called me. That there is a report everywhere that the government and David Mark has gone to discover his guns in Okoshiri. Okoshiri, where they have driven Ateke Tom. That he does not even know anything about those guns. So I even reminded...
The meeting never took place?
The meeting never took place.
Okay, right.
The meeting never took place. So I ran down back to Abuja. I went back to David Mark and said, what is happening? How come this story that you're supposed to see us has now turned to you and the governor going to discover Ateke guns? The man now told me, I am a retired soldier. He said, I do not fear anybody. But I will tell you the truth. He said, if I have insisted in going, they would have killed me and said it was Ateke boys that killed me. I said, but why have you reached that? He said he wants to reach Ateke Tom. And I begged him. I said, can I on my... He said, go. I on my phone in his office. And I called Ateke Tom. And I gave him the phone. David Mark said to Ateke Tom, my brother, you know that I want to see you. But the government said, if I insist, my safety is not in their hand. So I turned back. That was how that peace thing went somewhere. So I now discovered that this thing, they don't want it and they want to kill these people. I started coming up to the vice president at that time, who is a vice president, Goodluck. By the time I go to his special advisor, I told him, I said, this is the program. All I'm asking for is forgiveness, amnesty. Amnesty would not have come in any way because nobody was looked for. But I said, if you give me this forgiveness, these people are ready. I showed all the facts. I brought it in a one sheet of paper. The special advisor drove me out of his house. Because I later came to discover that he had a proposal for 60 years to solve the Niger Delta problem. 60 years. And now I'm bringing a proposal for 6 months. Okay. I am telling you, I went through hell. But all of these things did not really matter to me. Because before I started this thing, I have gone to church to pray. And I say, God, remove fear from me. Somebody has to do it. I'm a family man. I risked the life of my family. I risked the life of my friends. I was called militant. I bared it. I said, these are my brothers. I said, these are my friends. We can't be killing people every day. So we went on. When the Truth and Reconciliation now came, I repeated these things. I said, you even want that the government wanted to kill David Mark. It was then the governor got angry on that program. I said, if it were me, they killed my people, will I tell him to forgive? Then I was asking for amnesty. This is how these things went. So when I went trying to see Goodluck, whom I have known very well, when they attacked Goodluck's house, when he became vice president, I know him so well that Goodluck called me. I'm saying these things because they are alive. Okay. Called me and said, Osima, can you help me find out? They know me as a peace man. They know me as somebody who is trying to mediate between all of these things. And that's who I am. Goodluck called me and said, what is happening? People have attacked my house. I find out, I called him back. But when I started this amnesty thing, my Ijaw brothers, my Ijaw elders, so many of them felt that I am just trying to betray the Ijaw people. Yeah. That I want to tell the Ijaw, I want to take the Ijaw gun to government. They never believed it. They fought it. Some people said it can never be, that amnesty is for condemned criminals. I said, no, the amnesty I was asking for, God said we should put on the mind of Christ. And God told us, said, our strength is in our ability to forgive. That I am talking about God's forgiveness. The name amnesty came in because you had illegal guns that you've carried. The world will not just understand if I say forgiveness. So amnesty has to come. That's how we started the campaign for amnesty. When I went to Aso Rock, because I have met this special advisor to Mr. President on Niger Delta, who has driven me out of his house. There are people at the gate who broke protocol to take me to people like OCSSS and so on, just to make sure, because I told them my programs. They said, this is beautiful. They said they were happy for me. I broke into seeing the vice president. By the time I go to the vice president, I was just in the vice president's office. Somebody will come. The next minute, they won't let me see him again. So they blocked me not to see Mr. Vice President. That was why I said, how do I get to Mr. President? Okay. By the grace of God, one young man in Slate introduced me to civil defense. Civil defense. It was through the civil defense we went to Mr. President.
Well, you sold him the idea of amnesty?
Yes. It was there. It was in the civil defense. They sent people, representatives, everybody came there. There was a video. They were taking all the records. I will call Ateke Tom. I will call Soboma George. At that time, even to answer the call that I have called Ateke Tom, say, please answer the call. They were shaking. I gave them all the contacts. They started reaching out to these people. That is how we begged for amnesty. When amnesty was to come, the River State government arrested me for a traffic offense that I did not even commit. That I took one way on the east-west road So when we went to court, they said it's a traffic court, so you can defend yourself. They brought a video where they videoed me that I took one way. I actually did not take one way. The people there were looking for something. I drove to them and said, no, instead of delaying this man, why not just... So they were like, do you want to tell us what to do? They now went to the court and turned the story upside down. And I told the judge, before the judgment, that if this thing is confirmed to be lie, I will sue them. He said, no problem. Okay. They brought the video and played the video before the judge. And he saw that all they were saying were lies. He now said I should go and pay for the demurrage that my car has stayed there. And I should go. I said, I don't like your judgment. He got angry that I have challenged his government and gave me a bench warrant. That was in September. Amnesty was to end in October 4th. Yeah. That the condition for me to come out is that I must say sorry. I didn't know God was taking me to another place. They took me to prison where I now met other militants. People like Orinemi Hart, who were in the prison till Amnesty got finished. What I demanded from Yaradua, what I asked him, the conditions we talked about was to release those major people who had carried guns, who are in the prison. Okay. Like Orinemi Hart, Egberi Papa, this man in South Africa now, Henry Oka. I gave the conditions for their release. Asari Dokubo's name was... I gave Asari Dokubo's name in the amnesty because I know what I went through when he was in prison, and I understand that his case is still in court. Okay. So I said, look, remove the case from court, and that. So I fixed all those names there. That was what happened. So on the process, when I was in prison, I was like, I can't be... The condition is that I must say sorry to come out from prison. When I went there, I met other people. And I want the whole world, it was in papers. Why am I in prison? So the whole world, people were worried, a lot of things were happening. And along the line, I discovered that Amnesty will soon expire. And Ateketom has not come out. When I was in prison, Suboma George called me in prison. There's a way we have phones in prison. Right. And I told him, no, you must come out. He was the first person. I said, you must come out because they are trying to see what people will do. Nobody should react. You cannot react because I'm in prison. And so he came out. Now, I have to come out I have to say sorry. I have to be forced to say sorry because Ateketom has not come out.
All right. All this while, the program had gone on. And like you said, even in prison, you had your network where you could receive communication.
Very well.
Now, at that time, the program had started. Were you impressed with the response?
Now, let me tell you what happened now.
Because there have been talk that at the time the Amnesty program kicked off, many of the people who had repented had not surrendered their guns, and that only a small fraction. Did you see that response as encouraging?
Yes, now look at what happened, my brother. By the time I came out, I called the civil defense. I said, what is happening? Why am I not in this program? At that time, they said, one Mr. John in civil defense. People should... That man is a wonderful... He works with civil defense because he really pioneered the meetings. I called him. He said, no, they thought that Ateketom is representing me. How can somebody I introduced to you represent me? Because they started having direct dealings with them. So when I came out towards the end of September, Ateketom has not come out. So I went to Ateketom. I said, what is happening? How can you not come out? Apart from Suboma George and Boylov, so much other people have not come out. The arrangement was that if people like Ateketom does not come out and there is an attack on anybody, of any of the militant leaders, then every other person would have attacked. The arrangement was that they would have attacked from everywhere. So I went to Ateketom and I said, how come you will not come out? Ateketom told me that the committee, the Amnesty committee, people have told him from there that he should not come out. That if he does not come out here, that will extend amnesty.
So what were they hoping to gain through that?
I don't know what they are getting. Political gains. They have already endangered me at that time. I will call people like from Bonny area and other things. I call them and give them their names and their numbers to reach them to come out. They will tell these people not to come out. When I call these people back, they will tell me, you are not your men. That men has not accepted to come out. I keep wondering why. So I now told Ateke, you will come out on the 1st of October. You will come out on the 1st of October because on that day, Eagle Square, people will be at Eagle Square. At least one media man will see you and you will let the world know that you want peace. So I prepared flyers and other things. I arranged with Ateke. I said, you must. We will make sure you come out. As I was talking to him, Ateke got mad. I now called the contact as I was contacting with him. I was hearing he was mad. He said he will not hear anything, that he must come out 1st of October, whether they like it or not. He must come out. That was how Ateke came out 1st October without any preparation. I brought him out. And Yar'Adua confessed the best gift he has ever received. It was me. It was when Ateke came out, other militants now came out in a hurry. Because they now saw the danger. Ateke had full soldiers, more than anybody you can think of, practically. The arrangement I had with Ateke Tom was that they will wash themselves. If Ateke boys has come out to say, we are not doing this thing again, sincerely, you will have 2 heads to do it in Rivers State.
Okay.
But the government purposely removed me because some people saw fame, some money, and so many other things in the Amnesty program.
Now, in so much of what you've said, you keep alluding to the fact that at some point in time, the struggle, in quotes,
yes,
had degenerated into an avenue for making quick money.
Yes.
And right now you've also alluded to the same thing, that there are many people who are using this program, yes, to make money.
Yes.
So at the expense of people's life,
our people.
Right.
At the expense of our people. Let me tell you, it was not just our people. The soldiers, the policemen started enjoying the business. If policemen saw relevancy that they have to kill people and army men, even when they know they're not militants, they kill them just to want to stay. Now, if I tell you stories about what uniformed men did in the Niger Delta, okay, you'll be scared.
What you're saying is that a lot of the problems you had in the Niger Delta was born out of greed. People who wanted to make quick money and not for any reasonable
without any cause. Apology to anybody, was greed. Till tomorrow, we had an advantage. There was an oil, there was that, there was this, but nobody stood for us. They were raping our own people were raping our children, raping our mothers, kidnapping them, kidnapping people's mothers, grandmothers. And we called it a struggle. We so fool ourselves to say that is a foundation we want to leave for the next generation. How can you convert blood to a struggle? Because my Bible tells me whatever a man sows, he will reap. If Nigeria has given us anything because of people who were claiming to be a struggle, it will go the way it came. So I stood to the truth. And when I told you that, I said, look, this thing is not about fighting Nigeria. The truth of the matter is that we must forgive some people who have decided that they must be the head of different places and for different reasons. If not, it did not come to the imagination of God, Nigeria, that a state, a region that has claimed to be fighting you, you will give him amnesty. It's the right way around now. Okay. But the proof came that we needed to separate a fight. There was too much of killing. People died. I know young men who have died for no reason.
Now, with this kind of situation, do you really think that people are capable of letting bygones be bygones?
Oh, yes. By the time we started the reconciliation, before amnesty was announced, I have gone to reconcile everybody. I went to Soboma George. If Soboma George was standing before me, I never knew him. I went to Ateke Tom. I went back to Soboma George. I said, you must reconcile. When I called, Ateke gave me Soboma's number. Because I told him, you have to reconcile with Ateke Soboma George. When I went to Soboma, they called me to somewhere in Wittenbush, in town, near Stella Maris College. And I went there, we were sitting down, about 6 young boys. I said, which of you is Soboma George? They said, no, I should talk where I came for. I said, look, I came for forgiveness. They were mad. The ones from Okrika, they were mad. They said, me, forgive Ateke. They were mad. They didn't even want to listen to me. At the end of the day, we fixed the meeting again. I didn't know who was Soboma that first day. The second day, we went there. I didn't even know who was Soboma George. I was begging. I begged. Soboma George refused. I went back to Ateke Tom. I said, Ateke, what do? I need Soboma. He said, in short, he's the elder. Soboma George is the younger one. How can he do that? I said, no, you have to show him that you're wiser. I went back to Subuma. Subuma said, if I am saying the truth, he will know what will happen. That I should go to Ateketom. Ateketom knows what to do. I went back to Ateketom. I said, Subuma said, you know what to do. Please help me. Ateketom brought a drink. I said, see this drink, take it to Subuma George. He will understand what I'm saying. I went to Subuma George. Ateketom said I should bring this in for you. He laughed. The following morning, he did not accept. The following morning, he called me. He said, Onengia, now you they tell me this thing. At that time, they have told me it's Subuma George. Now you they tell me this kind of thing. Say, you be Calabari Manu. Now you won't carry me, we will give a take it. He asked to know my house,
all right,
know my family, know my relations. I brought all of them on board. I said, Ateke, Subuma, trust me. Ateke will not do anything. He said, okay, his brother will accompany me. He gave me his brother. I went with his brother and saw Ateke. We discussed and came back. Then Subuma decided to follow me. He followed me and I took him. That was on the 7th of July, 2008. It was on that day peace returned to Niger Delta. All right. Because all the militants, all the warring groups, everybody came to Ateke's camp. That day I saw heaven and I saw the hand of God. There was no hold taking, there was nothing. Ateketom accepted him, nobody killed anybody, and there was a reconciliation.
We're just interested in asking you. Now you went through all this, you've talked about meeting with some of the people who were feared then, yes, and thought to be real hard people. What is your driving force? God. What is the courage you have?
So let me give you one thing.
Because one would say that you took calculated risks and your life could easily have been on the line. So what was your driving force? Before then,
Asare took me to Saudi Arabia. And I saw Saudi, and I saw how the security are in Saudi. You don't need a policeman. Everybody watches everybody. So when I came back, I told God something must be done about this thing. But I asked God for one thing. I said, remove fear from me. If I have ever carried gun, if I have ever raped a woman, I would not have been able to do what I did. Because these boys, they see more than you see. They have informant more than the government. I was going to the government, I was going to the boys, I was going everywhere. I was most washed. I went to the church and I asked my church to pray for me. I will call Ateketom from the church for church to pray for him. Ateketom will call and ask for request for prayer that he has changed. God removed the fear from me and asked me to stand on the truth. And I stood on the truth of God. I risked my family's life. I answered militants that I have never been. Yeah. I had brothers, 2 brothers. My brother came in from US. I went to pick him up at the airport. We were coming. As we were coming, we got to Garrison, a major junction. Police surrounded us. Asked us to lie down in the middle of the road. Me and my 2 brothers, the only men in my mother's family that were carrying guns. I risked my family's life. I had a senior sister who has lived all her life in abroad. Her house with her property were brought down in one day. The government said she had a militant brother because her pillar was on the road. They announced it on radio that she had a militant brother. So they must remove that pillar that is on the road. They came and dropped the house down. On that day, they arrested me and put me in prison.
That no guns were found?
Nothing. Nothing. So I risked the life of my friends, those that know me, the community where I stay. I risked every life, but God covered me. Because of peace. Okay. This peace God has given to Niger Delta. God promised us a generational change. I stand by it. When I started generational change, Nigeria started talking about rebranding. I said, how can you do God this kind of evil? God is doing something, you're calling it a rebranding. That God has said to us that he will change Nigeria from Niger Delta. That our strength is in our ability to forgive, that we are one. I started a campaign.
Okay. Today in this country, there are many cases of violence still on.
Yes.
And some areas are still regarded as very risky places to go through. And there is a general outcry for a return to peace. How can this country attain the true peace?
Let me tell you, I have done all the jobs. My Bible says the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. I have read through Martin Luther King's book and films. Martin Luther King was assisted by the system when he came. American president would say when Martin Luther King calls him, even when he had a board meeting, he will leave them and attend to Martin Luther King because America wanted peace. Okay. And they supported him. In my case, my government is fighting me. I went to Jos on Saturday, 2011. There was a rumor that Jos will burn. I have clips of all of those things. I went to Jos, 4th, 5th, 6th was Salah. I was in Jos campaigning. Young men came out. I've gone to Kaduna. People are saying, we did not know that young men can come out and say no. People are ready to fight this crime. The government has forgotten God. There is a saying, they said, any nation that continues to buy weapons of mass destruction is heading towards a spiritual doom. And God said they have the form of godliness, they deny the power thereof. I have met men of God who told me that you have a grace to go. When the boys come to the church, we will pray for them. Right. What I'm saying is this, there is a way out. I have written letters, I have talked to people. If the government listens to me, in less than 1 year, we will remove all the guns in this country. This country will be so peaceful. Investors will not have space to stay. Just in less than 1 year. Let us go back to God. I'm not talking about what we will teach people to do. I am talking about laws that will be in place. Mr. President, people will not say, this is what we have said. Anybody who does not cue into it, you see what happens from that day. This is what God has assured me. That it is not going to be by force or by army, okay, but by God's grace. Just that we must have the spirit to forgive. I have big regrets that Yaradua died. The plans Yaradua had for Niger Delta, no one of them is saying. The plans that man had, may his soul rest in peace. But until we put on the heart of Yaradua, Nigeria cannot go anywhere.
Right. Now, you say you have been to a number of flashpoints in the country campaigning. Yes. What has been the response of particularly the youths when you take the message of peace to them?
When I went to Kaduna, the young men came out. They said, look, let me tell you. They showed me where the Christians are sparked to and where the Muslims are now. A Muslim brother is telling me, see, we have always stayed together. We don't know where this thing is coming from. And they were happy. They were so happy. They said they wrote to their governor that they want to have this program in Kaduna. But we don't have any assistance from anywhere. Okay. The same thing in Plateau. Right. Everywhere we go to, the young men are ready. People are ready. The people doing this violence are just very few. Okay. But we are saying even to the people doing the violence, that the people that wants them to do the violence, they are fulfilling their will. There are people benefiting in all of this crisis, in the lives and the blood of people. But we as a people can come together. If the government wants to listen, remove the weapon that is destroying us. How can you go to the north? You're killing our people and you say you're fighting. Nigeria fighting war with itself. A house divided against itself, it cannot stand. And it says, except God wash, they wash about wash in vain. Where is God in this country? Where is the fear of God that can say to a man, you are my brother? Where is the fear of God that can say to a man, I forgive you?
You talk about returning to God and godly ways, but it is well known that in this country there is a high rate of religion. You tend to make a distinction between the two, godliness and religion. I just said something.
My Bible says they have the form of godliness, okay, but they deny the power thereof. And Christ said, except, he was talking to Christians, he said, except you carry your cross and follow me, except you deny your home, except you give your life, I will say to you on that day, I know you not. People are afraid to give their life for people to live. My living today it's just extra grace. I see myself as living as extra grace. I gave my life, and God is keeping me.
All right. In most of the things we do, we talk about the government, but there are those who say, hang on a moment, the government does not only and should not only refer to the government at the center, and as the federal government, that you have states, you have local governments who are meant to be much closer to the people. Do you have any plans, for instance, the Foundation for Peace and Non-Violence in Niger? Do you have plans to go to the grassroots where it matters and start building from there?
Let me tell you one story. I didn't want to say this thing, I will tell you. I went to Bayelsa State on Silva's government. I was invited by the wife to have my program in Bayelsa State. And we did a proposal. I cut it short. I knew the governor's wife cannot sign beyond 30 million. They said, this program you want to do is small. Let's increase it for you. They increased it to 62 million something. Do you know what happened when the program reached? They showed me that it has been approved, that it went to audit, and audit has reduced it to 40 million. When the time for the program reached, because I had the advert, everything was on my name, there was no money. I postponed it for 1 week. The following week, I went and I did the program. I borrowed money and did all the programs. Do you know what happened? Somebody went and collected that money. It was 43,800,000.
So,
but 1 naira was not given to me.
So we're back to the same old issue.
So I am saying this.
Greed involved.
The system is fighting the peace. If you will do what you did to me as somebody who has all of these things, I am telling you now, I wonder what you've done to other people. But we are saying, whether the system likes it or not, whether the uniform people likes it or not, whether the church likes it or not, whether the mosque likes it or not, listen to us. We are talking to the people. The people will come out and say no to violence. And you will see what will happen. Nobody has two heads. Nobody has two heads when the people stand up as the voice of God to say this is enough.
With this program in place, your proposals on how to bring back peace to Nigeria, do you see peace in the terms that we so desire now, returning to all the troubled spots of Nigeria in the next 5-10 years?
I see peace in the next 1 year. From the day anybody will just humble himself, listen to me. I can give you practical steps. If I tell you how many problems I have solved, if I tell you people that would have been killed, I had the grace. Today, the government of Rivers State is happy for the peace, and a lot of people are saying the army brought peace. It is not the army, I brought peace. Army was killing us. My brother, I am not just saying something. I am telling you about the conviction I have that I want to talk to the system. Then let them come and tell the world that it will not work what I said. That in less than 1 year, we will forget it. I told them that in less than 6 months, yet I do give us 2 months. I said in less than 6 months, you will forget in a hurry what has happened in Niger Delta. People are forgetting in a hurry. Right now, everybody is claiming amnesty. Everybody is claiming the peace. I thank God for them. But I am saying in less than 1 year, from the day we are listening to, because God has built us as a foundation, whether any man likes it or not, we will save this generation and we'll get to the next stage, and the world will learn from us. The world will learn from Nigeria what great peace can be in the midst of war.
There are millions of Nigerian youths out there.
Yes.
What would you like to say to them regarding this nation, its future, and what they can do to bring about this change that you see?
I will still tell them what I've been telling them in my campaigns. The Nigerian system that has taken us through this stress is happy when they do violence. People are benefiting when they kill people. People are benefiting when they kidnap people. People benefit when you throw guns, when you bomb places. Nigerian youths, you are fulfilling the bad, evil intention of people that wants to benefit in the life and blood of people. Let us say no to violence. But not just telling them to say no to violence. I am praying that the government will listen. We will commit everybody practically. And that will be done. I don't just advise them. I try to tell them practical steps that we can take and have peace. I pray that we will get there one day, so that the world will hear that practical step. It will involve everybody. I have begged them before. I say I'm still begging them. I say if you give me 1% of security vote, one, people are laughing at me that I want to make money. If you have 10 policemen, give me one. What it takes, that will save this country. That's what I'm saying. Bible says, for the lack of wisdom, knowledge, my people perish. We are perishing over nothing. We are brothers. We don't know we are killing ourselves. I have Muslim brothers who we grew up, Kabiru, and a lot of them. If you see us in River State, our Muslim brothers, most of them are more closer to us than our brothers, born by our parents. Muslim brothers. It is easier, and it will be easier to save. The situation we are in now is too easy to be saved, because if God can give us Niger Delta, people forget. You don't know what we went through in the Niger Delta. If you know what we went through in the Niger Delta to bring this peace, Nigeria is too small. Which state in the Niger Delta, in Nigeria, had what was in the Niger Delta? Which state? And I keep begging them, let us not fight again, because when they say religious war, it is nothing like that. What we are going into is a guerrilla warfare. Let's look for peace when there is still time. Because people are so angry that those who were never militant are admiring to be militant now. People are so angry that, do you know that there are people going to the north now from my area, wanting to identify with Boko Haram, and are going in seriously. I have these information that they are going in seriously because they understand that very soon there will be negotiation with Boko Haram and they want to be in the picture.
So again, this all still goes back to the issue of some people benefit from crisis,
yes,
and they look at crisis as an avenue
to make money.
To make money.
Yes. But I am saying, when the people rise up, they have no option.
As we round off, Enengia, yes, this I must ask you. We've had so many people proffer solutions to the numerous challenges Nigeria is facing.
Yes.
And along the lines, there are times when some other citizens would say, let's take a second look. Is there a sincerity of purpose here? Is this another political gimmick? Most times you hear people say, those leaders or those activists who come up and preach,
looking for money.
It's either it's money or they're looking for political power. Are you looking for money?
Now let me give you one instance. The OCSSS, when Yar'Adua was president, after I showed him all my programs, he looked at it and he said, but you're not in this program. I said, I am not, because this is what God asked me to do. And maybe it was my confession then that now made the civil defense say they thought Ateketon was representing me. I am not in the Amnesty program.
Okay.
With all I have told you that I did, I reconciled all. I went to Father Dagogo, reconciling with Sobonga George. I went to Ateke. I went to all of them. All the militants in the Niger Delta, called them. I went to Boilof. Far. If you go to Boilof town, it's almost outside Nigeria. I entered the sea. I went there to reconcile Boilof and Ateketon. There was a heat problem. The world did not know. But I'm not asking for anything. I just want to thank God for two people who helped me. The former governor of Lagos State, Tinubu. Tinubu called me and helped me, gave me 1.3 million. Then the former deputy speaker, Austin Opara, gave me 100,000 in two occasions, 200,000. Then the commissioner of police in River State then gave me 50,000. Apart from that, nobody else on the face of this earth assisted me. I sold my car, I sold my land, I sold anything I can sell to get the peace. The government challenged me that I was looking for money. I can't be looking for money at the detriment of people.
Okay, money you ruled out.
I can't be looking for money.
Political power.
I can't be looking for power. I am not interested. I am looking for peace. It is peace I'm looking for. What else is it? I have a fine family. I have a fine business in Port Harcourt. I have a photo studio. I don't think there's any other one like that. I have a fine thing to go back to. But for God's sake, people are dying every day. I know people who died. I know people, young men who died, who are promising people. Why will I look for money in this stupid and dirty world?
All right. Okay. Well, we can see that you're so passionate, even as you speak.
I pray that I don't die so that I can still get this peace.
Okay.
But except I die, then maybe somebody will not explain it. But if I don't do what I do now, God will raise stone. Okay. I don't know when that stone will come. At
this point, all we can say to you is we hope you sit back one day and see these efforts come to fruition, and you'll be part of the peace-building efforts that are going on in Nigeria.
By the grace of God, I have seen everything I started come to pass.
And so we'll have to leave it here. And I'd like to say thank you very much, Onengia Erekosima, President, Founder, Foundation for Peace and Non-Violence in Nigeria. We've spent quite some time talking about peace, and we can only wish you well as you preach the message of peace and carry the message of peace all around Nigeria. Once again, thank you very much. It's been very interesting talking to you, and I still see that the passion is still boiling in you. But
I don't sleep.
Okay.
I see the salvation every day.
So we say thank you once more, and we hope sometime in the future we'll ask you to come and tell us more about how far you've gone with the message of peace and what you have undertaken to do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's it. That's as far as we'll go on this program. We thank you for watching. We'll reach you again with another edition. I'm Cyril Stover. Thanks for watching.